I don't know about you, but I am about tired of having this capsule exposed. I'm gonna make sure that all my wires are threaded down through there good. And now it's time to cap this bad boy up. Make sure you're gentle as you go. Um, the logo for the cardioid pattern, we'll make sure it's on the front diaphragm as you go. We're going to then replace the screws that we took out earlier. So they had these little sleeves on them. You want to make sure the sleeve, well, the sleeve is going to go in between the PCB and the chassis. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do this. Let's see, I'll put the screw down through here. Remember, you can't go far because that wire is permanently attached now, and you could pull it loose if you weren't careful. And since I'm probably going to need a little room to play on the other side, I'm only going to start this screw just barely going into that chassis hole, so I give myself a little bit of room to wiggle on the other side. There's that one. And final screw is going to go in on this side. Slipped out. Get that sleeve in there using some tweezers and can't get that last one down on there. Okay, now we got all three of them in. Remember, those sleeves are actually doing grounding work, so we want to tighten them up. Okay, so there's the capsule is now covered again. You can actually see it just a little bit through there. We want to make sure we route the appropriate wires. This is why I suggest that you very carefully label them. Get the wiring routed over. To the right places. There are two slots, one labeled FD and one labeled RD on the circuit board. You guessed it, front diaphragm and rear diaphragm. So, if we can get this final, just want it to be on the other side of this post. There we go. Up and over, up and over. On back in. Okay, so we're just going to take and locate right where that is. We're going to tin the end of these wires to make it easier to work with. Again, tinning is just that process of adding some solder on the front end. So get just a little bit of solder. It will also help you when you go try to sneak this bad boy through this hole in just a second. So you get a nice thin layer on that. It just makes it like threading a needle. That's what it looks like when it's tinned. Nice and easy. So then you're just going to take the RD wire and thread it down through the RD hole. If you'll hold it right on the tinned portion, it should go through there pretty easy. And then the FD, through the FD hole. And then just like everything else we've soldered, we're just going to hit those from the bottom side of the board and make sure they're good and attached. And I actually wound up poking that back through just a little bit, so I'm going to heat up my solder on the board. And then kind of use my tweezers and make sure it's good and in there. And now it is. Same kind of process on this side. I like how that one went even better. Now I'm just going to do a double check by lightly pulling with my tweezers. It does not want to move at all, which is a good sign that it is right. Just tucking that wire back in there out of the way. And now there are only 3 wires left to work with.